They whispered, "Who is she?" as the last radio signal cracked through the canyon. 12 elite U.S. Rangers pinned down, out of ammo, out of time, and surrounded by enemies who knew the terrain better than the maps ever could, but none of them knew that a single unseen sniper, a Navy SEAL with a past darker than the mountains and a skill deadlier than the silence, had already taken her first breath, lined up her first shot, and begun the rescue that would become legend. So if you crave stories where courage, sacrifice, and shocking twists collide, subscribe now and stay with us till the very last heartbeat. The mission was supposed to be clean, fast, and invisible, a midnight insertion into a jagged Afghan canyon to capture a high-value warlord whose shadow network had been bleeding Allied forces for months, and the 12 U.S. Rangers chosen for the task were the best of the best, men who had trained together, bled together, and trusted each other beyond words. Yet within minutes of landing, everything unraveled when a hidden surveillance web triggered a cascade of alarms. And the canyon erupted in gunfire from ridges that had looked empty seconds before, forcing the team into a brutal firefight that pinned them against sheer rock walls, cutting off retreat and scrambling communications. And as the hours crawled by under relentless enemy pressure, their ammunition dwindled, their wounded grew, and hope thinned like oxygen at altitude, until their commander, Captain Reyes, called in the final contingency. A single encrypted phrase that activated a classified Overwatch protocol, and somewhere far beyond the mountains, a woman known only by her call sign, Spectre, rose from a steel chair in the dim operations room, slipped into her gear, and boarded a blacked-out aircraft, her face unreadable, her heartbeat steady, because she had trained for this moment since she was a frightened girl watching her village burn, a past she never spoke of but carried in every breath. And when she finally reached the forward base and hiked alone through terrain that broke seasoned soldiers, she moved like a shadow through moonlight, setting up her sniper nest on a knife-edge ridge that overlooked the kill zone. And the first shot she took dropped an enemy commander mid-signal, shattering the coordination of the ambush, and the Rangers, hearing the sudden crack and seeing hostiles fall without knowing from where, whispered over broken comms, "Who is she?" As Spectre worked methodically, every trigger pull a precise calculation of wind, distance, and consequence, neutralizing threats that had trapped the team, yet the enemy adapted. Unleashing mortars and drone scouts that forced her to relocate under fire, crawling across loose shale and ice-cold stone, dragging her rifle and wounded leg after a blast grazed her position, but still she fired, still she advanced. Until she reached a point so close that she could hear the enemy shouting, smell the cordite, and feel the shock waves of their weapons, and in that deadly intimacy, memories surged of the brother she had lost, the oath she had sworn, and the long road that had led her to become the unseen guardian of men who would never know her name. And as dawn crept over the canyon, the Rangers launched a desperate breakout under her covering fire. Sprinting through bullets that seemed to curve away from them as if guided by fate, yet just as extraction seemed possible, a final enemy surge blocked their path, a wall of fighters charging from hidden tunnels. And Spectre made a choice that would redefine bravery, abandoning her concealed position to move into direct line of sight, drawing fire onto herself so the Rangers could escape, taking hit after hit to her armor. Her strength fading as she continued to fire until the last hostile fell, and when the Rangers finally reached her, they found her collapsed beside her rifle, bloodied but alive, her eyes still sharp, and in that moment of stunned silence, Captain Reyes knelt and asked the question that had echoed through their radios all night, "Who are you?" And she answered with a faint smile, "Just someone who wasn't finished yet," and though official reports would bury the details under layers of classification, the 12 Rangers would carry her story forever. Each one changed by the realization that survival had come not just from training and teamwork, but from the courage of a single unseen soul who chose to stand alone against impossible odds, proving that sometimes legends don't arrive with thunder. They arrive with a whisper, a steady breath, and one perfectly placed shot.